Welcome back all, this is Daz from MRT Techniques. This week I've just received my new Digikeijs DR5000, so we're going to have a bit of play around that. So what we're going to look at is just a little bit of unboxing, how you download the drivers, because it's got to do it in this very specific way. We'll look at some of the features of the interface, the PC interface, and also if you want to keep watching the power management side of things, how I use the stock 18-volt power supply and output at the track at different voltages. That's something you can't do internally, but I'll show you how we go through that, and also a little cheat with the USB side of things. So big shout out to my Patreons out there. Thanks for their ongoing support on the channel and everything. Every little bit counts. Also some big news, we're just currently partnered up with ABR Modelworks. I'll put all the links below to all this. They've offered watchers or viewers of my channel a great little deal of 10% off. They're Australian based, but they will ship internationally if needs be. So the 10% is obviously code driven at checkout, so look out for that. I'll put that in the link below. So it's MRTsave10 ABR. Is case sensitive. I will put the correct code in the link below. So without further ado, let's get into it. MRT Scale Prints, helping you to add realism to your model railway. We are producing craftsman quality prints in various scales, including HO, O and N scales. We are proudly Australian owned and operated. www.modelrailroadtechniques.com. Alright, so let's have a quick look at what's inside the box. So it comes in a nice, neat little box. Obviously it's not a very big unit, which is great. Let's just open up that security seal there and see what we've got. So there's the DR5000 proper. So the measurements are roughly 9 centimeters by probably 16.5 centimeters in metric terms. So let's see what's in the accessory box. Let's get rid of the box. We don't need that one. So what we've got in here is the USB 2 cable and also the variable voltage power supply with the Australian plug. So obviously depending on which part of the world you're in is depending on which plug you get, Europe, European, UK. And that transformer outputs 19 volts at 3 amps DC is my understanding. So let's get into something a little more exciting. So now you've seen the unboxing. What we need to look at doing is downloading the interface so we can set it up on the computer. So it's very important at this point you don't actually plug the unit into the USB or the data cable, which we'll go to in maybe in subsequent videos. And I'll show you the reason why. So we're currently in digikeijs.com and I'll put the link to all this below. And then we scroll down into downloads and technical documentation. So this is where we get all the different manuals and all the different languages. So at this point, we're going to download the software firmware. At the time of this video in February 2022, we're 1.6.1. So we'll download that and we'll have a look-see. Okay, so let's open the program file up and we'll just install it. As per any other, obviously I've got a Windows machine here. Doesn't stipulate whether it's Windows or for your Mac users. I'm assuming you can. Just a matter of following the prompts. This is not a video on where I'm telling you how to download things. We'll just quickly move through this. I'll put that in my normal program file on my C drive, and then we'll download installation for the configuration and the drivers. So now we've got the interface opened up. So after downloading, puts a little shortcut icon on your desktop. Click to open it up. So as you can see, we're currently in demo mode. So that means the DR5000 is not plugged into either the Ethernet cable or the USB 2 cable. So as I said before, it's very important that you download the program and all the drivers before you plug this in, because it creates a whole lot of other issues apparently. So hence that's what I have done. So the next thing we need to do is, without the software running, we plug the USB into the DR5000. So then what I've got here, so you know that the computer has recognized the drivers and the like, bring up your device manager within whatever computer you are using. This is a Windows 10. And then you'll see down here ports and LPT. So then you can sort of see that the DR5000 sitting on COM ports 7, 8, and 9. And at that point, you know that you have downloaded it correctly. Okay, so the next thing I've found that's not in the instruction book for some reason. Don't know whether it's inherent to my computer or not. But what I found is, so currently the USB is plugged into the Digikeijs or Digikeijs DR5000, but you can sort of still see that it's still saying in demo mode. But if I go up to the USB 2, it does say that there is a serial number attached to this, but I can't update or do anything to it. So what I found is if you go into the control, connect via, so we're still sitting on demo, so you need to put that to USB, but it will come up with this funny error and shut the configuration program down. So if you were then to open it back up, you can now see that we have a serial number. So you just got to make sure, if you're using the USB, to click onto the USB. As I said, I couldn't find this in the instruction books, or network, which we will set up later on, maybe another video, to go from there. So now you'll see if you go up to USB 2, it gives us the version of the software and what ports we're connected to. What we'll have a quick look at here now is the inputs and outputs across the top here and around the module. So I think this is probably one of the best features of the DR5000 configuration interface. It's obviously very well thought out. So I'm not going to dive into them individually at this point in time. I'll bring up one or two and just show you what they look like. So I won't do the LAN because I'm not plugged in the LAN. So what happens if you're not connected to the LAN or the Wi-Fi, it starts chiming in on and making an annoying, it's almost like an error sound on your PC desktop sound. So we've got the S88 monitoring bus, we've got the track output, and I'll go into probably these in more detail in a subsequent video. The track power is obviously what we can look at doing. Later on the video, I will go into a little tip on how I've changed the track power. The DR5000 does not have the ability to change the output voltage on the track at this point in time, and I'll show you a little tip how I've managed to work around that with some extra very cheap hardware. And we'll go through later the go and stop buttons. Now, one thing I did only just find out, just stumbled across, is when you hover over the Digi Central, it actually brings up the very latest user manual. I think that's a great idea. Now we've got the USB connected and we can see we've got the serial number here. Now we can have a bit of a play around. So we can actually, via the computer, I think it's a great little feature, turn the track power on and off, I should say. So currently you can show it's green, and obviously all these lights now represent in real time what's actually happening with the controller. So if you were, the reason why I think this is a great little feature, if you were to squirrel this away underneath the bench, you don't want to be having to go in under the bench all the time to switch the track power on and off via the buttons. So I think it's just a good little idea. So you'll see, will pop up in the footage just very shortly. What we're going to quickly look at here is the power management, what I'm going to call the power management side of things. So I'll just explain obviously all the components quickly and what they're doing. So obviously we've got the DR5000, got a very, very simple multimeter, and I'll explain what that does in a sec. I have a buck converter and obviously the power supply just off screen for the DR5000, and the USB coming in. So currently the track power is off. So this version of the DR5000 comes with the 18 volts DC power supply. So
My previous one had like a multi-stage, so you could actually select via a little switch on the side. And the DR5000 is not sophisticated enough at this point in time that you can actually adjust the output volt or the track voltage. Obviously the capital Z21 by Roco, you can do that. However, $300 compared to $700 or $800 for a Roco system. So it is a minor con. However, we can get around that, and I'll show you how you can do that by using the stock power supply with the buck converter. So all I've done here is, so we've got the top wires coming in here to the left of the buck converter is showing 17.9 volts, so give or take 0.1 of a volt, 0.1 or 2 of a volt. And if I just push the little button over here, what I'm doing is I'm outputting 17 volts, so nearly 18 volts coming in this side, 17 volts coming out into the DR5000. And then all I've got here is from the track output, I've got 2 alligator clips, so the track output here, 2 alligator clips to my multimeter. Obviously this is a little bit of a crude test because I'm not using a ramp meter, so the voltage is going to be a little bit up and down. So with a ramp meter I will eventually get it calibrated a little bit better. So let's turn the track power on, and you can see on the right hand side here we've got 16.5 volts. So what I'll quickly do, so where the beauty of this, the way I've set this up comes into it. So as I briefly explained, Roco Z21, 3 times the price, or nearly 3 times the price. You control internally via the Z21 maintenance app, the track output. So obviously how I've got around this, as I've explained, I'm using a buck converter. So this is a 5 amp version. So the power supply for this is 3.3 amps. So we've still got plenty in reserve here. We're not getting hot or anything. So the way I've looked at doing it, and please comment in the comment section below if there's other ways that you guys and girls or modelers out there are doing it. Obviously you can completely buy another power supply, but if you want to keep this power supply, paid $5 from Amazon or Alibaba or something similar. So if you just want to cast your eye to this here, and I'll just show you, it's just as easy, and I'll get my arm out of the way. If I start playing with the output voltage of the buck converter, so if I want to go up for whatever reason, you can, the voltage is going up. So we're looking about half a volt between output and this. As I said, this is probably not totally accurate, being it's just an AC output, but it's giving you an idea what we're talking about here. So if I go down in voltage on the output side from the buck converter, we're looking at 15.7. And you can keep going down from there to your smaller gauges into N scale and the like. So I think that's obviously one way I'm looking at doing it. As I said, please comment below if you can think of a better way or a cheaper way of doing it.
So that's the end of this very short video. Just recapping, obviously we've gone through the downloading, the drivers and the configuration interface on a PC. Obviously this is on a Windows computer that I've done this on. I can't speak for the Mac users. Doesn't say you can't do it. We looked at the power management side of things very quickly, and how I use some very cheap buck converters to use the 18 volt supplied power supply to move forward with being able to change your output voltage at the track. And don't forget to go across to ABR Modelworks. I'll put all the links below. Obviously we're in partnership with them now also, so I'll put the discount code MRTsave10 ABR. Obviously it is case sensitive specific, so I'll put that in the link below for 10% off the great range over there at ABR Modelworks. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Make sure you subscribe, click that little bell icon to be notified of upcoming videos. Support us on Patreon, like us on Facebook and Instagram at Model Railroad Technique.